Viewers and listeners, welcome to STV Global News, but first the headlines. Governors budgets 525 billion naira for security as killings spread. Residents flee Sokoto villages in droves as Bello Turji issued new threats. Kwara Custom intercepts smuggled goods worth 1.2 billion naira in 1 month. Newswatch co-founder Yakubu Muhammad dies at 75. And on the international scene, China's trade surplus hits record $1.2 trillion in 2025. And on sport update, Chile set to twerk Super Eagles tactical formation against Morocco. Stand by for these and other stories coming to you shortly. I am Anina Ahmed. States across Nigeria embark a combined more than 525 billion naira for security votes and related operations between 2023 and 2025, according to an analysis of figures extracted from their approved budget documents. The state budgets are contained in Open State, a budget-backed website that serves as a government budget data. The massive vote, intended to bolster security nationwide, raises a critical concerns about the efficiency of these measures, as citizens remain increasingly vulnerable to the tide of violence. Although the responsibility for ensuring the safety of lives and property lies with the federal government, the increasing wave of kidnapping, robbery, and other forms of violence has compelled many state governors to set up their own internal security strategies to combat the menace. Residents of communities in the eastern part of Sokoto State, especially Tadibale, a small community in Isa local government area, have started fleeing in large numbers following fresh threats and warnings issued by bandit kingpin Bello Turji. Turji's threat came at a time when at least 5 persons, including a former councillor and 2019 People's Democratic Party (PDP) House of Assembly candidate for Otupa Upper State constituency, Mr. Ipepe Uchi, were reportedly killed in a midnight attack on Otubi Upper community in Otupo local government area of Benue State. However, as part of efforts to combat terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and other violent crimes in the country, the United States government has delivered critical military supplies to Nigeria. On Bello Turji, residents said the threats delivered after months of relative silence from the bandits' camping has triggered fresh panic, forcing families to abandon their homes and farmland. The Kwara Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service has recorded major anti-smuggling successes, with seizures valued at over 1.2 billion naira less than 1 month after a new acting area controller assumed office. Acting Custom Area Controller DC Najib Akamo Ogundeyi, addressing journalists in Ilorin on Tuesday, said the seizures were a clear indication that the command will no longer tolerate smuggling or economic sabotage in the states. Ogundeyi disclosed that the command intercepted prohibited and improperly imported goods through intelligence-driven operations, routine patrols, and sustained enforcement across critical routes and border communities in Kwara states. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has announced the commencement of the sales of application document for the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination and direct entry admission for the 2026 through 2027 academic session. This was detailed in a release, a photo statement signed by the registrar, Professor Ishaq Oluyede, and shared on the board's official X handle on Tuesday night. The board stated that eligibility is tied to age, noting that only candidates who will not be less than 16-year-old by 30th September 2026 are generally eligible to apply and be considered. It, however, made provision for underage candidates under strict conditions. You are listening to the Standard Global News coming to you on Standard Television Kaduna. Stay tuned for more stories after the short break. Welcome back from the short break, and now the news continue. A former Kano State Governor, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has urged his associates in Governor Abakabir Yusuf government, who are reportedly under pressure over the governor's planned defection, to align with his move to the APC to ease rising tension in the states. Kwankwaso spoke on Tuesday in a short video clip posted on Facebook by his media aide, Saifullah Hassan. Governor Yusuf's reported intentions to join the APC has strained the relationship between him and Kwankwaso, his longtime political benefactor. While Kwankwaso has resisted calls to move with the governor to the APC, he expressed concern over reports that elected officials, including local government chairmen, councillors, secretaries, and other office holders, were being asked to sign documents declaring their political allegiance. Yakubu Muhammad, a co-founder of Newswatch magazine and its former deputy chief executive officer, has died at the age of 75. He was reported to have been battling an undisclosed ailment before his death. As of press time, an official statement from his family was still awaited. Born on April 4, 1950, Muhammad hailed from Olugba in the Kina local government area of Kogi State. He attended St. Joseph Primary School, Ayamba, in 1964, Government Secondary School, Okene, between 1965 and 1969, the University of Lagos from 1972 to 1975, and the Glasgow College of Technology in Scotland between 1978 and 1979. He began his journalism career at the New Nigerian newspaper, where he served as associate editor from 1976 to 1980 and managing editor in 1980. He later joined National Concord as deputy editor between 1980 and 1982, becoming editor from 1982 to 1984. Moving to international scene, China reported strong trade numbers from 2025 on Wednesday, as its surplus rose year-on-year to a record of $1.2 trillion, despite a slump in exports to the United States after President Donald Trump hiked tariffs. Last year's bruising trade war between Washington and Beijing, which at one point saw reciprocal tariffs in the triple digits, led to a 20% plunk year-on-year in China's export to the United States, with imports falling 14.6%. But other trade partners more than filled the gap, increasing Chinese export overall by 5.5% in 2025, while imports stayed flat in dollar terms. Shipment to the Asian group of Southeast Asian nations rose 13.4% year-on-year, while export to Africa saw 25.8% growth. And lastly, on sport news, Super Eagles head coach Eric Chile has hinted at switching his tactical setup ahead of their 2025 African Cup of Nations semi-finals against Morocco on Wednesday. Speaking to the media on Tuesday, Chile admitted that some of his players are getting fatigued. The Malian tactician has mostly deployed a 4-4-2 diamond formation with Victor Osimhen and Apo Adams on top. So far, the Eagles have scored 14 times in 5 fixtures and created the most chances. Their high-tempo, energetic, and aggressive style has overwhelmed opponents, including Tanzania, Tunisia, Uganda, Mozambique, and Algeria. Meanwhile, coach Eric Chile has expressed disappointment with Wilfried Ndidi's suspensions for his side's semi-final fixture against Morocco. That was the standard global news, but before we go and look at the major stories. Governors budgets 525 billion naira for security as killings spread. Residents flee Sokoto villages in droves as Bello Turji issued new threats. Para Custom intercepts smuggled goods worth 1.2 billion naira in 1 month. Newswatch co-founder Yakubu Muhammad dies at 75. And on the international scene, China's trade surplus hits record $1.2 trillion in 2025. On a sport update, Chile set to tweak Super Eagles' tactical formation against Morocco. That was the standard global news. On behalf of all the production crew, I am Amina Ahmad saying, do have a pleasant evening.